Hello, I'm Angela from artofi.com. This is the first video in a series that I mentioned a video or two ago called Something Old and Something New. I have a ton of dies and stamps and other things that I've had for a long time, which have either only been used once or possibly twice or not even used at all. I also have a ton of new products that I've been buying over the past few weeks because I keep finding these deals, these mega sales, and I just cannot resist a sale because quite frankly dies and stamps can be quite pricey. So if I see some really cheaply, then I'm just going to buy them. It's as simple as that. And I've also bought things from Temu and AliExpress and other places. So it's not going to be much for my first video. It's going to be something as simple as this. Just a little vintage style folder. Not sure if I like the bow or not. I don't think I like the bow, but I'm going to show you how to use it anyway because it comes with the die. And I was a bit torn about, these are the new, using new stuff. I was a bit torn about the style. But I think I'm going to do this one with a few changes which I'll go into a bit later on. So I'll put those to one side. So for the first one I'm just going to use the same paper. I can't remember which paper pack this is from, but I'll try and leave a link in the description. So this is the die set that I'm going to use. I've had this for a good while. I don't do journaling, but I do make a lot of stuff for journaling for a friend of mine, so I think I'll probably give these to her when I'm done. So I'm just going to cut some paper, just some pattern paper, and I like the vintage look of this, but you don't have to use vintage, you can use any style you like, of course. I'll cut them both at the same time. I'm going to use my Gemini Midi. I like to use the smallest possible tool for whichever project I'm using because my big shot is massive and really heavy. I don't know why I've cut that out. I need that cut out from a different colour. Let's pretend that didn't happen. Put that away. What colour? Will that fit on there? So I might as well do a stripy one, see what happens. Easy enough to change if I don't like it. I'm going to leave my craft buddy to one side because I will be needing it, I think, for the other project. Right, so if this doesn't look great, like I say, I can always cut another one. It's easy enough. I think I got that from Temu, the little folder one. It came with quite a few little bits and bobs. So you just fold over on the score lines. I don't know if you can see them there. Little score lines. And just make sure it's all straight. I'm going to make sure it's creased. Get some strong glue. I'm using my Barely Art Precision Craft Glue. Very good stuff, very strong and dries fairly quickly as well. If you want to, you can leave it like that. I mean, it looks nice as it is, doesn't it? It's kind of cute, but as you can see with this one, I've inked it around a little bit just to give it a bit of an aged look. And I've put a few vintage stamps on, so I'll be hunting those out as well. So for this one I used, it's a distress ink, it's Walnut Stain, that one. But I think I will use for this one, try a different colour, vintage photo. I hardly ever use these, so I'll just use it just to use them up really. And this is my little Sizzix tool. You get quite a few little attachments for these ends. And I'm just going to speed it up because watching somebody ink something can be quite boring. It's as easy as that, just gives it a bit of an aged look. I think I prefer the other one though. And with this one I just remembered I actually inked it before I glued it together, because you end up with a bit of a white line there, so that's something I've learned from that. But to make the bow, I'm just going to put some glue in the middle here. And then you bend over the sides to the middle of the centre part. Can be a little bit fiddly. Like that. I hope you managed to see that all right. I didn't check to see if I was in shot. Yeah, I forgot to cut this bit. I don't even know what this is going to look like. But like I say, they're easy enough to cut another one if you like. Right, I don't really like the bow on the folder, as I said, but and to be honest, I'm not even sure that I'm doing it right. But as far as I know, you put it on like that, and then you bend it over to glue. I suppose if you used a lighter bow you could ink it as well to make it look a bit more vintage. Yeah, I don't like that. Never mind, I'm going to stick it on anyway. No, I don't really like that, unfortunately. But I shall plod on. This is the stamp set I use. I've had this for a good long while now. Don't know which ones I've used on there, but I'm just going to pick any one off and use, and I'm going to use the same ink. Vintage photo. Do the back first. I don't want too much of an impression, so I'll stamp it off first and then stamp it on there. Different stamp. It doesn't have to be perfect at all. I'm just really looking for an impression. To be perfect. So you can see just the addition of a few stamps and things. I do not like that bow. I'll probably take that off and add something else there, but that's my something old project. So I'll just clear all this up and then come back for the something new. I'm going to make a card, this card, but with hints of this card. I've run out of this ribbon, so I can't use that anymore, but I do have one that I attempted a bow earlier and it didn't quite work, but I might be able to salvage it. We'll see how it goes. So yes, I'm going to do this one, but I'm not going to use the same embossing folder for that bit because I don't really like it for this project. So for this, I've cut a card base and 2 pieces of paper slightly smaller. So the card base, these pieces of card are the same length as the card base, but smaller. I think this one is an inch smaller than the card, and this one is, I think, 1/4 of an inch larger than this. So I'm not going to give measurements because, however, if you wanted to make this, you can just use whichever widths you like or whichever paper you like. It's entirely up to you. This is the embossing folder that I'm going to use. It's like a knitted one. I think it's really nice. This is the scrap that I'm going to use for the butterflies. I have lost my border die. Ah, there it is. I don't know what it's doing over there. That's the border die I'm going to use. That's the die set. I'm not going to use the butterfly stamps, but I am going to use a couple of the dies. And this is what I'm going to use. Now this, all-in-one stamping and cutting. So it's a StampCuts die. So basically what you do is you stamp it with ink, and then you die cut it, and you get the outline of the flower or the die, whichever die it is. So I did a bit of experimenting with this. So as you can see with this, I used I think it was a peach colour to stamp it before I die cut it, and I really do like that. This one I used the black ink.
The camera isn't responding.
Okay. So the black ink was it was the hybrid ink pad, sort of part pigment, part dye ink, and it didn't really stamp very well, and to be honest I didn't really like the look of it even when I'd coloured it. I don't know, I just don't quite like it. But I do like that one where I used a stamp with just a colour on, the main colour for the flowers. I tried to use a stamp that would match. So what I did is a little bit of experimentation. This is actually die cutting without stamping first, and it's viable. You could use that if you liked. And this again is with the hybrid ink, which I do love. I love it for my sentiments and things like that, but it didn't seem to stamp very well on there. And then I used Distress Oxide ink, and again that didn't seem to stamp too well. I think it must be the pigment side of it possibly, because when I used completely, like a complete dye ink, then it stamped much more crisply, if that's a word. So this is I used a Stampin' Up ink pad, because they're really juicy and I just really love using them, they're great. But I suppose you could use any dye ink, like perhaps Gina K or Simon Hurley or something like that. I guess anyone would do, but it stamped really nicely. So what I'm going to do, put these to one side. I'm going to use a piece of card, just a piece of scrap. Right, there's my scrap paper. I'm going to get this ready because I like to die cut it as soon after I've stamped it as possible. Now first of all I'm going to decide which colours I'm going to use. So I've already used pink and peach. They look nice. I'll use one just a little bit darker than the other. I don't know if you can see that there. But these are the Tonic Studios Nouveau alcohol markers. So because I'm using blue, I think I'll use a nice sort of light blue stamp as well. This is Azure Afternoon by Stampin' Up.
Motion detected at the front door.
What I'm going to do, get that ready. I'm going to stamp on top. I'm not going to do that there, silly. I'm going to put that on there ready, and I'm going to stamp over the die. Don't know why it's doing that, because I didn't do that before. Right. Just be careful and fast. Try not to move it. I'm going to go forwards and backwards. We've not so much intricate, but I want to make sure that we get a good covering of ink on there. Yeah, isn't that lovely? Gorgeous. So I'd never heard of these before, like a stamp and cut kind of die. I'd never heard of it. I didn't even know they were a thing. So I didn't even know that's what it was when I ordered it, because I just ordered it because it was on sale, of course. Right, so I'm going to start colouring these in, and once again I'll fast forward it so you don't have to suffer the agony of watching me do it in real time. They're really easy to colour as well because they have the impression of the die cut, and it kind of helps to keep you in the lines. Here we are talking about me. Right, so coloured that one in, completely different colours to the last one, so I'll just set that aside. It doesn't really need to dry because alcohol markers dry very quickly anyway. So that's the card. I'm going to use this border die on both of these pieces. Just trying to get it straight, that's the issue. Use whichever border dies you like, whatever you have in your stock. You don't even have to use border dies if you don't want to. You could just cut the paper as it is if you don't have them. Right, so it doesn't matter if they're slightly longer because they're easily trimmed off. But that's going to go on there like that, and then that's going to go on there like that. So I'll do that now using my fabulous Collall glue. The Collall glue you can always find in my description under items that I use regularly, or whatever it's called. To be honest, using border dies for your card making, I think I mean, you could leave it like that, couldn't you, with just a centerpiece and a sentiment on. I think it would look lovely. But because I wanted it to look a little bit like this one, I am going to put that one on there like that. So then the border die has a border. I'm not sure what paper pack this peach paper's from, but I'll certainly have a look. I wish now that I'd made it more this way, so made these not quite so wide, because I'm not sure if I'm going to get my sentiment on. Although I suppose I could put the sentiment down there instead of there, couldn't I? That might look okay. Wow, that is too bright for this card. Well, never mind, I should have perhaps used more subdued colours. Yeah, see, these colours would have been better with this. I'm going to put some dimensionals on there. Okay, I'm going to use these butterfly dies. Perhaps just cut out one butterfly, I'm not sure yet. The sentiment on first. No, it's not going to look right there. Top. Bottom. Yeah, I'll just put it there. Oh, something else I meant to say. I saw this on, I think she's called Crafty Carol's cards. Because normally I would try and ink around the edge if I wanted to give it a bit of separation from the white, but what she suggested was just dip it in like that, all the way around. Oops, still can't do it right. And then you get a little bit of a border all the way around, not much, just enough to separate it from the white. Put some dimensionals on here too. I will link to all of these products that I use as far as possible, but some are from Temu and they don't always have them in when I go and look for them. They tend to sell out fairly quickly. I think I'll cut out a couple of these little butterflies. Yeah. This is where scraps come in handy, especially when it's beautiful paper like this. And yes, this butterfly stamp and die set is new, because I got it from Temu or AliExpress, to be honest, I can't remember which. That looks lovely, doesn't it? Really pretty. I think I'll cut out another one out. Best to have it and not need it than need it and not have it. Right, now I just have to decide where to put these. I'm going to lift the wings up a little bit. Right, so if at all, I think I'll have one there. Yeah, I'll do that there. See what happens. I think we'll have some bling. Right, and there we go for the something new. Not fabulous, not earth-shattering, but I've used new papers, new dyes. Actually the alcohol markers weren't new, but I suppose if you wanted to, this obviously has some stamps in as well. You could stamp inside with a little butterfly or something, but so there's my something old and something new. Like I say, nothing earth-shattering. I just wanted to make a start on the video series I promised in an earlier video, where every now and again I'll make a something old and something new video using old dyes and old products versus new ones, just so I can get through all the stuff that I've bought and just don't really know what to do with as usual. So here are the other cards that I made. I would be interested to know which is your favourite. Or what did I do? I forgot to emboss that, didn't I? I forgot to emboss the white card, which is what I wanted to do. I even got the embossing folder out. What am I like? That would have been so much better embossed. Can I take everything off there and emboss it, do you think? No, that is not going to work at all. I can't believe I did that. Oh, I could kick myself. Every time I do something like that, I could kick myself. I think what I'll do is I'll make another card with the embossed white part and then post it at a later date. I get so angry when I do that. I get really angry with myself. But anyway, that aside, these are the something old. This is the something old, something new projects. I'd just be interested in your opinion. If you would like to see more in the something old, something new series, I'd be happy to do that, because I have lots of old and lots of new things that I've yet to use. So thank you for watching, bar my horrendous mistake as usual. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. Have a great day. Bye bye now.